It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, our good friend Ray Auger returns to Shermerverse.
Which Shimmerverse? I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Shermerverse.
Sorry, I don't know where that is.
And reviews the 1985 American science fantasy buddy comedy film, Weird Science.
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Oh, man, the Shermerverse.
The Shermerverse.
How cool is that?
Into the Shermerverse.
Yeah, you said you couldn't wait to get back to the Shermerverse, so here we are. So, hey, friends, and welcome to the Film Crickets. It is the podcast about the past where we revisit movies between 1980 and 1999 and decide beyond the shadow of a doubt whether or not these movies stand the test of time. I'm your co-host, Jay Fortier, along with my good friend, Chris Martineau.
Hello, Jason.
Hey, and we also have our good friend and co-host, Melanie Howerton.
Hi.
Hi. And once again, we are joined by someone who has entered the Shermerverse with us. It is Ray Auger. Ray, what's going on, buddy?
Hello, everybody. Great to be back.
Yeah.
Into the
We are
Shermerverse.
going to watch Weird Science.
Magical Weird Science, apparently. Make shit just pop out of thin air. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, happy day. Chris, he's ready to go, man.
You're just going to be crazy on this one.
No, I'm going to try to rate it in. See, here's the deal, guys. I have this, Ray, and you've heard me with this before, but Ray you were on my side with Clue, right? Right, Ray? Was that you?
Oh, I couldn't stand Clue.
Thank you very much.
It's
Okay,
weird because they're remaking it, and I see a lot of news stories about it.
Oh, they are?
And all they go... Ryan Reynolds is attached to it.
Oh,
and I'm sure it's going to be great because he's amazing
Yeah, I
and his
love
friends
him.
are amazing. But they keep referring to the original one as a classic, the quick-witted classic comedy everybody loves. And we didn't laugh at it. I don't get that movie.
No, I don't either. It's ridiculous. So anyway, but it's, I guess, I have this kind of reputation of being, someone called me a curmudgeonly soul on this here podcast.
Ryan Cunningham.
Yeah, because I didn't like faux patriotism in Top Gun. And
oh no, hold on, whoa! What? It was a week after you bashed the shit out of Point Break.
Oh yeah,
so
also,
it was like
what?
so we, yeah.
Right. Here's the deal.
Ray
Rewind. Breaks. Look, I still don't like Point Break, but all I'm saying is my deal with Point Break is I don't like it. I don't hate it as much as Top Gun. However, Point Break to me, I just didn't care. I didn't care about the two characters. I didn't care about Gary Busey. I could not get invested. I just didn't care. So once for whatever reason, it just didn't speak to me. So because it didn't, the whole movie's kind of boring if it just doesn't click. I can't tell you why, because she's a great film director. Did you
watch it back in the day, or did you watch it now?
I watched it now.
That might be the problem.
No,
So you're probably watching movies differently. We probably love those movies because we grew up on them.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily good movies. So you are actually more of the voice of reason with these.
Oh, I don't know about that because who directed that? She did Zero Dark 30 and she did
Catherine Bigelow.
She's fantastic, and I think she directed it
Point
well.
Break?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
It's like one of her first ones. But so the chops were there. I could see the direction in it. I just didn't care. I tried to, and I just didn't. And I guess that's my deal.
Well, like I said, you were watching it as an older guy, and and I knew, like tomorrow the sun will rise. I knew that you were going to not have a great time watching a movie that was meant for 14-year-olds. Weird Science. Yep. Because we watched this, all three of us, right, when we were all like 14 years old. So I saw it in the theater. I know that's usually your question anyway, so we can always we can just get to it right now.
Yeah, hit it.
I saw it in the theater. My brother and his friend were driving us to the theater. It was the mall, so he was going to see Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I was seeing my second round of Weird Science just because, my friends and I just fell in love with this style. Like first off, Hughes already had a name for himself, and by the time this movie came out, everybody was just flocking to the theater because of his rep.
Mm-hmm. I see. I always thought this movie was... Oh, I'm sorry. So let's keep going around. Ray, So what's your first experience now with Weird Science? I mean, you saw it when it came out. Did you watch it a lot as a kid? Like, what's your deal?
I probably saw it first when it came either on TV or VHS, but I didn't see it in the theater.
Okay.
But I was still young enough to, have that funny feeling with Kelly LeBrock. So I remember that. I was a little too young. I was, 85, right? So I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
So I probably saw it 13 or 14 when I was coming into my own. And that was the major
There's a joke
plot
there.
point of the movie was Kelly LeBrock and all the sexual undertones that only us 13 and 14-year-olds could kind of understand and be like, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to learn more about that. And then
It turned into Starship Troopers suddenly. Are you interested? Tell me more.
like showering with women. It's such a joke now at 50.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, is that a thing that you do? Is that
Yeah.
that must give you a different I don't know. So you look at it differently, but I've seen it throughout the years. I watched it with my kids because I forgot a lot of the sexuality in this.
Sure.
Even though that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
I watched it with my 14-year-old recently.
Okay.
He loved it. He thought it was funny, and it
All
was
right.
a couple moments. Well, he's 14. I saw it when I was 14, and then I just saw it 3 hours ago.
All right.
I didn't need to, but I wanted to.
Okay. By choice. Excellent.
By choice.
So I think we can also admit that probably it's, sexually speaking, probably a little mild compared to a lot of the stuff streaming or whatnot. So I'm not going to play again, I'm not a prude. I'm not a Puritan by any stretch of the imagination. I just, like certainly the stuff now that's worse on network TV than you'd see here,
Cartoons.
right? Yeah, absolutely. Cartoons.
Oh, God, yeah, you're right.
SpongeBob, for
American
instance.
Dad.
So, just kidding. I don't know about that, Squidward. Melanie, your history with the science weird.
Okay, so I don't remember the first time I saw it at all. I just know that I used to watch it all the time. I just don't remember how I ever saw it. I probably had it on VHS or something. I've had my kids watch it, and I've seen it every once in a while as I've gotten older.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the biggest thing I think I remember from it is like Bill Paxton and his role as Chet, which I always.
Oh, he's
I
great.
love him. Even if you don't like this movie, you've got to recognize how good of an actor he is in this and how he just nails it.
Well,
and
I give props to.
Quotes from him. I love that.
All right. So, Melanie, now having at this point in our history with the listeners, I think we all understand that your viewing habits with these movies for the Film Crickets are typically with your mother. So, did we watch Weird Science recently with your mother?
I literally did. I usually don't always watch them always with my mom, but I was like, I remember telling Jay, because it was the time that we were actually supposed to do a podcast and all of us weren't able to do it for some reason, and then my plans got changed and I said, okay, let me just try to catch up. What can I watch? Tell me what to watch while I have time right now. So I brought Weird Science down to my mom. I watched it with her.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think we're going to. So let me. My history with this is none. I didn't see it. Now I do have to ask some questions here, okay? Because I do want to get into why, even from the start, even without seeing it, this movie kind of made me uncomfortable. So, and again, not a prude at all, right? That's not my deal. But as a shy kid. So this comes out in '85 in the theaters. When was it on cable? Because I did not have cable until, well, I moved away from college. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, seriously. So I was not privy to this, and nor was it part of my grandmother's video piracy collection. So when did this make the rounds? Was it in cable, and what year?
Jay?
Had to have been within a year.
Well,
86?
I remember,
yeah, within.
I remember being a year when everything would start coming out after the release.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
that's when I started
within it.
hearing about... All right, so that's when I started hearing about this movie. So 6th grade, which is already awkward. And you're hearing these movies, you're hearing these quotes from this movie, from Kelly LeBrock mostly, and that's all I remember. And it's mostly the one whips,
Chips, chains,
yeah,
and
chips,
dips.
whips, chain, that one, right? So, and it was usually from kids on the bus who were, say, a little tougher than me, and I was kind of afraid to be bullied at any moment kind of kid. That at any moment they're gonna steal my Rush T-shirt and my science books and my astronomy books. So the kids that were saying these things were the kids at the back of the bus that I was afraid of. And also what they were saying I didn't understand because I'm in the 6th grade. And you pretend like you understand in the 6th grade, right? Like you understand, like Ray, you're saying before about the shower, like that must be, is that fun? I don't know. Like it sounds, I guess so. right? So it's a very awkward time, and all I remember, I associate like physically feeling uncomfortable because I was afraid the kids that were just quoting this movie are gonna come steal my lunch. So that's where I am.
So we've opened up a real can of worms.
Oh no, I'm a grown up.
This movie.
I'm a grown up, but I'll be absolutely
No, but like,
yeah, sure.
No, I'm just thinking like as soon as she comes up at the line, I see you just curling up in the fetal position on the couch.
No,
Your wife's like, "What the hell is going on?"
In fact, I would say I pushed back on that because as I've gotten older, like that's where maybe some of the like I get pissed off at this movie a little bit. Probably as a pushback on that. Like, now I'm a grown-up, I don't bully, I don't give a shit what people think about me. You can say whatever you want about me, and you can come at me, whatever. Beat me up. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to have you arrested. Oh, well. You know what I mean? So my attitude is completely different now because it took some growing. So I don't care. So maybe that's where kind of this visceral kind of, oh, God, this movie is terrible, comes from. And again, I was telling everybody before, like, my opinions are going to differ, but I'm going to go along, and there are some positive attributes to this movie, no doubt about it. It's not complete garbage. It's not Police Academy. So you know,
I have a lot of positive.
I'm kidding. I like Police Academy. I totally like Police Academy. Maybe not the fifth one.
Poor Ray's gonna be like,
no.
Now he's going to be in the fetal position.
Yeah, no. I'm okay with it. Police Academy is just stupid because it's stupid, and that's fine. I just want to see what you all say. So, all right. So, who wants to start the discussion on Weird Science? I will open it up.
Well, should we do the IMDb breakdown?
Oh, sure. Jay, do we have that?
Yeah.
All right, hit it.
It's time now for the one-sentence synopsis from the IMDb.
Two high school nerds use a computer program to literally create the perfect woman who promptly turns their lives upside down. The film crickets are on now. I hope you will be lucky, and I hope you enjoy the show.
She doesn't turn their lives upside down. She's basically trying to get them to grow and encourage them, and literally get out there and meet people and get what they want in life. It's kind of a movie about growing up, really, if you think about it. I know there's a lot of stupid like sexual innuendos, but it's basically trying to get them to like come out of their shell and get what they want. So yeah, she gives them everything that they want in the end. So really turning upside down for in the better way, I think.
Okay, but I think she had to turn their lives upside down to get to that point.
For sure.
So the house party, and, like they got very, unraveled about all of that and the bikers and all that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I could see that in the description.
When we get to the
but it is a great story, though. If you break it down like you did, Melanie, it's a fantastic story.
If you break it down like that, sure.
You got to break it down. You can't watch it. You just have to listen to a synopsis like that, and then you're like, oh, that's a sweet story.
That sounds great.
And if you're Chris and you watch it, you're like, oh, this is garbage.
This is terrible. The poster says it in and of itself when we have the two 14-year-old boys just beeline to the cleavage. Like, I'm looking at the poster right now, and it's like, come on. Anyhow, so let's get into it, right?
There's actually a couple of posters.
Yeah, there's a few, right? Anyhow, so let's get into it. Director John Hughes, writers are John Hughes and Al Feldstein, based on a comic book by William M. Gaines, starring Anthony Michael Hall as Gary, Ilan Mike Mitchell-Smith, Wyatt Donnelly, who has a PhD in medieval literature and chivalry.
Hey, I was going to say that.
Well, not acting.
That's the best. That is the best. Because he said, screw this, I'm going into academia.
Well, do you want to know what he did before he became an actor?
What's that?
He was a ballet dancer. He had a scholarship from the American School of Ballet.
Right, and here he is in a pervy sex comedy.
But
so
I thought
Kelly LeBrock,
he's a professor.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kelly LeBrock, Bill Paxton, Suzanne Snyder, Judy Aronson, Robert Downey Jr. as Robert Downey, and I don't think anybody else too much of note. No usual heavy hitters except to say, oh boy, Bill Paxton's the best, by the way. But
he is.
Are those his real teeth, by the way? I don't remember his teeth being that big. Except in that movie.
I think he's got his teeth fixed and things, because I've noticed that too. I'm like, his teeth look like shit. But that's the 80s movies where they just look so bad. You didn't care about plucking your eyebrows or having big gaps in your teeth. That was just kind of the thing. You didn't matter how yellow your teeth were, how messed up they were, or how if you had a unibrow. That was the thing of the 80s until they started taking care of their teeth and their eyebrows. I mean, look at Tom Cruise's teeth when he was in younger movies, like. Yeah.
And how about Robert Downey Jr. talking about looks? He was kind of weird looking back in the day.
And his teeth were messed up,
he grew into a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? He did have that, appeal.
That
charm. There was something there that, he stood out. Well, way more than his best friend.
Because he was charming and funny. How'd you guys like that
There's
mall
just something
outfit
about
wearing,
him.
that mall outfit with the khaki
shorts
and the little 80s belt hanging off of it and the little jacket and everything. He cracked me up.
The other guy had
outfit.
some kind of weird gloves on.
Crazy.
Yeah. The fashion in this movie is so odd.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Everything is cartoonish about it. Even the introduction is extremely colorful with the lightning and the words weird science and the neon look. And how great is that theme song?
It's Oingo Boingo. Good old Danny Elfman.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, underappreciated, man.
But I understand that it's comic booky and it's coming from a comic book and it's bright, and you mentioned the fashion, and it's but isn't that just because it's super 80s? Are they trying to be comic book, or is that just the culture? I mean, you can say the same for the intro of Ruthless People or most of the fascists, Freudian slip, fashion in Ruthless People. It's already kind of bright and outlandish and crazy. It's kind of everything that it's Valley Girlish. Yeah. It's that vibe. So are they trying to be comic booky, or are all of the early 80s comic booky? Just in terms of culture.
We just watched Ferris Bueller, and it wasn't as vibrant as this, as far as all the colors.
All right. I'll give you.
I think as far as the fashion
that's all I'm talking
goes,
about.
Though,
Sure.
that's all 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
fashion.
Ferris had that outfit when he went into the city, and that was pretty 80s, and the beret, and I don't think you'd see that now or before that. So you're right, Chris. I think that's just the 80s.
But I also read that John Hughes, because I watched I had a thing about Weird Science, and they were talking about how he was literally ahead of fashion in the 80s. So he kind of came out with a lot of these outfits, and the fashion designer that really weren't even that out yet, and made them more popular because of his movies and the way he had the characters dress. So how
they had an in.
People that age, and he was ahead of the time.
They had an in at Chess King. They knew somebody at Chess King.
Nice. Pulling the Chess King. Very nice. So.
Well,
go ahead,
one
Nick.
thing real quick, I was just to help my point on what I was talking about. I just meant more the visuals, the over the house is a red storm, like a brew, in the distance. Stuff that was you know what I mean? It was stuff, that was just, I think, just a little more, it stuck out as far as the vibrance of the colors. But, so that's what made it a little more cartoonish.
Well, we're also setting up that we're going to do something pretty fantastical, and that we do have to suspend the window of disbelief. There's no window of disbelief to suspend in Ferris Bueller, even though magical things kind of do happen in that movie. Or certainly The Breakfast Club. I mean, you got to turn your head to the fact they never get caught by the assistant principal and all that stuff, right? So he's setting it up so that when we see a door bulge out, Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, and then Kelly Brock is standing there, underwear, shocker, that we buy it. You know what I mean? That we buy it. So the question is, why do robots have magic? Anyone?
Anyone?
Bueller?
Anybody? Explain the magicalness of the computer programming robot. Hit it.
They fed enough information.
That's horseshit. Okay.
Of course it's horseshit.
And that's what I was thinking, just because they have somehow been able to steal more power. I'm sorry. Just because they've been able to steal more power, which is totally impossible, it doesn't mean that because your computer has more power that now it's all of a sudden going to be able to program and do things and create things that it wasn't actually made to be able to do all of a sudden. Right. You know what I mean?
That was going to be my point. I mean, they're feeding pictures in. Einstein, I mean, really, if you think about it, when they put the Einstein picture in, it should have made her look like Einstein, not go in the brain.
Oh, that's sexy.
That picture doesn't, right? But that picture doesn't talk about the intelligence of Einstein unless the computer recognized that it was him. Yeah. I don't know. But I didn't buy that even when I was a kid. Yeah. I'm like, this is impossible. Yeah. And it's hard to see.
They're feeding it like a Coke machine.
Yeah. Well, and also they're hooking up batteries and cords to the computer appliances and to the computer. You know, it's so easy. Let me get some cords and just hook them up to this computer. And
sure.
I mean, like it's ever going to be able to do anything. It's just so funny.
I think, though, let's let today's audience, who is very computer savvy, parents turn to their children this day and age and go, hey, can you help me out?
Yeah, sure.
I need a hand, right? So I think it's easier back then to just pull the wool over all of our eyes and say, it's okay, have fun. Yeah. Because the kids are watching this going, sure, that sounds like cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to know. They just want to see this happen.
We didn't know
they don't
enough
care
about
if it's not right.
either. In '85, we didn't know enough about computers, right. So maybe that computer could do that. And as far as we know,
and that's my point. Anybody? This is going to be a deep pull, but I'm going to lean on Ray on this one. The movie Electric Dreams.
Oh, I remember.
Sure.
Remember that?
Yeah. Remember the computer takes over and wants to kill the guy. No, he's jealous.
No. Electric Dreams is the computer falls in love with somebody. It's romantic. But he doesn't want to.
Jealous.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I do remember that name.
It's indicative of again back to the snapshot of early '80s. It's indicative of people don't really know what computers can do, therefore they can do anything. Mm-hmm. They can fall in love with you, Electric Dreams. They can start a thermonuclear war games, and they can make a magical harlot in Weird Science, and all of it's legit because no one really knows how it works except Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and that's it. So you have to kind of go, I guess so.
No, Electric Dreams, that's when Turbo, Ozone, and Special K all go to save miracles.
What?
Why do those names all sound familiar?
No, it's Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, right, there you go. I knew the names.
Electric Boogaloo. Breaking two.
Can we talk about Bill Paxton at all? Because he's my favorite.
Go for it.
Melanie,
you got them notes. You got them notes, Melanie.
I have them color coded and everything this time. Okay, so Bill Paxton, I absolutely love him so much. And I don't care about whatever movie he's ever been in, like the Titanic, Twister, a billion things that he's been in. I'm sorry, and I think if anybody grew up with Weird Science, you're always just going to look at him and say, that's Chet. Because he was amazing in this role. And he had like he was probably the greatest actor in this movie. And he has so many of the funniest lines. But I have one little tidbit on him. He was actually in the crowd where JFK came out of his hotel in the morning of his assassination, and you can see pictures of him when he was 8 years old being lifted above the crowd at the 6th floor museum in Dallas. I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
And then people lost track of him behind the picket fence. Sorry.
Well, and then you know what else? He wanted to be in that party scene really bad, but they were like, you can't be in that because everyone, you're a different character. So he put a disguise on. He put sunglasses and a trench coat on, and he snuck into the party. So he could be in there, but, so you wouldn't recognize who he was. And I looked real hard for that. I paused that thing every 5 seconds. I couldn't find him. But some of my favorite lines from him is when he was like, when he said, how about a nice greasy pork sandwich and an ashtray? He put that line in there because that was actually a line that his dad used to say to him when he came home with a hangover.
Right.
That was real. And then I think it was funny when he was like, I'm not a moron, And then he's like looking at his grandparents, not even like seeing that they're there. Or when he's like, for Christ's sakes, will you cover yourself? And he like takes his towel off and he gives it to his brother. And he's like totally doesn't have any clothes on. And that's somehow better than his brother wearing the underwear. And then he was like banging on the head of Gary and his girlfriend. He's like, okay, you die. She walks out of here with a severe limp. Or when he was like, if my rim is okay, I won't kill him. I promise. I'll just hurt him real bad. Like, I don't know. I love his character. And then
he's kind of always kind of a knuckleheady, but but he's a knucklehead and he can be evil, like near dark, or it could be knucklehead and lovable like this, or Aliens, or whatever, right? You
Predator 2.
Yes, cannot forget Predator 2 with Mr. Busey. Again, second time I mentioned Gary Busey in one episode. Never thought I'd do that.
And the whole Lethal Weapon team,
that's
by the way.
Right.
If you watch that movie closely, somebody called out the fact that might be the actual sequel to Lethal Weapon.
What?
Like Danny Glover actually goes into witness protection, goes to work in New York City, battles the predator. There's a whole argument about that. Look that up.
All right.
It's pretty smart.
He was the only one besides Lance Henderson that was actually in Alien, Predator, and Terminator. The two of them were in those 3 movies together.
Cool.
And then that large puppet that was supposed to be like that slimy thing that he turned into. He was supposed that was somebody in there. He was supposed to be in there, but he was claustrophobic, and he's like, I can't get in there. So they squished 2 little people in there to control that slimy puppet thing, and it was Kevin Thompson and Joe Gibb. And then the other thing that I thought was weird is when Wyatt went up to Lisa, he goes, "Is that Chet? Are you responsible for that?" No, who the hell else would be responsible for that? What do you mean, are you responsible for that? But I do that anyway. That's all I have on him. But I love him, and I think he was the best actor on this entire show. I think he was amazing.
So,
can I add something to that? No, I just the scene where he's hitting them in the head with
rubber
the gun. It's like a rubber gun, because Anthony Michael Hall was saying this, it was made out of rubber, and they just kept laughing because you see him wince before he even gets hit because he's anticipating the thing, and they just kept busting each other up. Well, I thought it was just great.
That, when Chet was yelling at Lisa and the boys and the girls were behind Chet, you can see Michael Anthony Hall and the girl laughing, and John Hughes decided to keep that in. They broke character because of him, and they couldn't get through the scene. They're like, we're going to leave this in. It was cute. Yeah. And really quick, as we're still talking about Bill Paxton, I am looking at Bill Paxton smiling at me right now as we're talking about him on that Club Dread post.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh,
that.
wow.
It was,
I kind of do.
We're talking about him, and I look up, and I'm like, oh, there's Bill right there.
He's always watching. He's always
really
watching with his many wives. Oh, wait, no, that was just a TV show. From what I hear, he was a super nice guy.
Oh, we lost Ray a little bit.
That's right.
No, I just moved my computer.
Ray, you there?
Am I still here? I'm still here. No?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Just making sure.
He was a super nice guy. So I guess let me get this question out then. They invent her, and now she's their property. Quote.
Yes.
Quote. So okay, I have a problem with that, but okay.
It came from her though.
Sure.
It came from her.
Again.
Yeah.
Just saying. But
not a real woman.
I mean, yeah, but you can't say that with Frankenstein. I mean, basically, it's sexy Frankenstein, but Frankenstein was never the property of Victor von the monster was not property of Victor von Frankenstein. But here we have. I said it just like young Frankenstein. 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 So, I guess it's a hard sell, and I'm not. I guess I had a problem with that because she just kind of. I know that's her character. It just was so icky the entire time. I know that she's trying to do them a favor, but keeps referring to I am their property, and I don't know how that flies. And I don't know that flew in the 80s, and it certainly doesn't fly now in that whole thing. And I know what they're trying to do. She's trying to get them to, quote, lighten up. And the thing I push against is nerds are cool. Like, what's the problem with that? Like, these people that computer program, they run the world, now. Sure. So I don't see why are you trying to get them to change? They're a little neurotic. You know why they're neurotic? Because they're 12, and they shouldn't have. They're freshmen in high school, and they shouldn't have these experiences yet. They'll friggin' figure it out.
Younger, according to Chris.
No, I'm just saying,
soon they're going to be 5. They're 5 years old, chasing after chicks.
No, I'm just
by
saying.
the time the movie's over, the podcast is over.
Well, I guess what I push against now is the message. I get the message, and I get that we're trying to get them to grow, and I'm not taking away that message. What I'm saying is the message is, and John Hughes does it again in Breakfast Club, is Boo who you are, but it'd be so much better if you changed it a little. Like at the end of Breakfast Club when Ali Sheedy gets all gussied up. That's kind of not okay.
Well, I don't like that. Yeah,
that's not okay. And it's the same thing here. The whole movie, you should be who you are, but if you just change the tad, it would be so much better. Huh? You should try. And that's this.
All right. Well, so I was going to say, we've mentioned that you are who you are mentally, like as an age, in your own brain. Like you're 24. You said that before.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can specifically say what age I am, but it's obviously in the 20s or teens or whatever. You know what I mean? Like of who I was then.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Hughes did not grow up past teenager, and I think he remained there through all his writings. Like like all the years that he was trying to write, his brain never left, and he probably stayed in, like as far as talking to people or whatever, and knew how, or at least stayed within that mind frame for his angst or whatever he was dealing with. So that's going to come out. He, if you look at him, he was probably not, he was probably nerdy. He had that appearance. Am I wrong? You know what I mean? And I'm not making fun of nerdy people. I'm just saying he had he had the mullet, but he had the glasses. He was probably like awkward in his own skin growing up, and then probably was projecting, in the sense that he's saying, it'd be cool, but if you change a little, he's probably saying that about himself.
Oh yeah,
but the thing is too, is like I said in this movie, it's not about trying to I know what you're saying, but it's not all. It's like they want to change. They want to fit in. They're getting made fun of. They have a shitty ass life. They're getting their pants pulled down in the gym. I mean, nobody likes them. Nobody talks to them. They can't go to parties. They're not invited to anything. Any kid that age is going to want to change. They're going to want to be more acceptable to other people. I mean, everybody kind of has that in the back of their head, wishing that they'd be more accepted by people, I guess, especially when you're that age. And like I said, if you're getting made fun of all the time, or getting beat up, or having slushies poured on your head to get made fun of, and everyone's laughing at you, nobody would want that. Nobody would want to live their life like that. Nobody would want to go to school the next day. They'd probably be dreading going to school. They're gonna get made fun of. It's really shitty. I've been there, so it's really shitty to go to school and not want to be there because you're afraid somebody's going to make fun of you, or no one likes you, or no one accepts you. So this is how they were in this movie. And so this movie is about them trying to bring somebody not only into their lives because they want a girl in their lives because nobody will look at them, and also they're trying to, when they're getting ready to go to the bar, they're dressed up in these really stupid suits and they're drinking a juice box on the way to this bar that Lisa's going to take them to. You can clearly tell they don't know what fits in, and they just want to be like everybody else. It's not like they want to try to be above everybody. They just want to be like everybody else, and they just want to fit in.
Right.
So to me, it's more like a movie. You can say a coming of age movie, whatever, but it's more of a movie nobody wants that life. Nobody wants to be the kid that's being made fun of, or not want to go to school, or have their pants pulled down in the middle of gym. So, of course, you need to change a little bit and have some self-confidence. And I think that's what this movie is about. And that's what Lisa's trying to do, is get them to get some self-confidence. And that's why she brought the bikers in, so that they would realize that they needed to step up in front of people and be more confident in themselves. I think that's kind of what they were trying to prove in the movie.
So my point is, you guys probably talked about this, was that they were getting picked on. They were being bullied. And I think Lisa was just trying to give them the self-confidence that they needed. Still be nerds. They can still be who they want, but to move forward and socialize a little bit, and not so much be like everybody else, but just have the confidence to be themselves.
Right.
That's all.
Well, she keeps saying, but she keeps saying, I think one of the things was, you have to lighten up. You gotta lighten up. Okay.
We're a little stiff. I mean, again, with the clothes they were wearing.
They were hiding in the bathroom at the party. They wouldn't leave. They went into the shower door. I know that. They wouldn't go back
bananas
outside.
thing where they had the close-ups of the lips talking really fast,
but
that's bananas.
Hey, you know what I was thinking of? That is a precursor to Uncle Buck, because Uncle Buck and Macaulay Culkin did the same exact tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a John Hughes trope.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am not making any bones about that. I did not like this movie. However, the nascent John Hughes is all in this. He is kind of honing his craft on this movie for better movies.
So,
it's all in there.
It's early.
Yeah, it's all in there.
It's early for him.
What I was going to say, when you were talking, we were all elaborating on the whole thing about growing up or lightening up. You got to remember, I mean, you obviously remember 14 and things are weird and awkward. And we obviously, you and I were not it's not like we were the least popular, but it's like we weren't popular either. Like I would say, like in the popular crowd. And, so we know that pain.
Yeah.
Now you go see this movie.
By the way, first, before you go on, Jay, let's just establish this, that Gary is 16 and Wyatt is 15, turning 16 in June.
Doesn't look like it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I thought
just saying,
said 15.
We're bouncing around the ages. I just want to set the the right age.
When I said 14, I meant me specifically watching this movie at 14. We're watching this movie feeling this way at 14 or whatever, relating to those awkward moments or the guys that get picked on or whatever. And not one guy in the audience not one person wouldn't be psyched about jumping in a Porsche, pulling up next to your bullies, and just like kissing on the collar of the girl, and she's kissing him back, and you're like, "That's it, motherfucker, I'm out." Boom, and take off like a rocket. Their faces is like what everybody wants to do.
But the guys that were trying to get that girl, she led them there on purpose because she gave them a kiss, kind of blew a kiss kind of on the escalator so that they would follow, so that they could see, these guys, driving this car, and that she was actually with them. That was the whole point of it, and to invite them to the party.
But
so she did it on purpose, and it worked. She just lured them like a fish.
Talk about what we've talked about over the week since you just brought up that the escalator.
What?
Oh, all right. I'll talk about it. So in the theater and now on, if you watch it like on certain DVDs, you will get Van Halen's "Pretty Woman" when she's going up the escalator. I have I'd seen it many years since then. And they cut out the Van Halen's "Pretty Woman" and inserted "Weird Science."
All right.
Like the song, like it's like they took it away from us. Like so, like I knew it was supposed to be "Pretty Woman," and they finally brought it back. But it's like it's such a better scene.
And there was another instance too at the end where you'd get what, "Tenderness" from General Public, or you'd get another song.
Well, there was another one too at the very end when she walks into the gym. Some versions say "Weird Science" and some have the Rocky theme. Yeah, they did that.
And here's a little odd bit of musical trivia for you. When they woke up the next day after drinking, and they were hungover, "Tubular Bells" is playing from The Exorcist, which makes no sense whatsoever.
It was,
and it's very light. It's in the background, but I'm waiting for somebody's head to spin.
No, I heard that.
It
I said that to my mother. I said they're playing, that music from the movie.
Guys,
I thought that was weird.
We've come this far. And you've talked about these things, and we haven't brought up the fact that a cruise missile appears out of nowhere.
I have a part on that. I have a part on that.
You're kind of on the fence about Tubular Bells, but there's a cruise missile that suddenly appears because they hooked something up wrong. That's dumb.
That's right. It's the computer.
It was laying on the magazine, the Time Life magazine.
Oh my God.
With the
I
rocket.
didn't think it was a donkey dick, honey.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a funny part about that.
Oh,
so,
God.
Robert Russler, Max, who was on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, he was telling people that whole scene cost $100,000 to make that rocket scene coming out of the floor, and the whole thing was ruined because Michael Anthony Hall farted, and they all lost their concentration. Yeah. And they had to be they were like, it's going to cost way too much money to reshoot this. We can't reshoot it. It's way too much money, $100,000. So that shot he ruined, and what they had to do is they had to play that backwards and then try to tweak some shots because Michael Anthony Hall farted and ruined it.
$100,000.
Did you know that Robert Downey Jr. drove Max, what's his name, to the Nightmare on Elm Street? Because Weird Science was his first movie, and I guess they became close. So they drove him. He drove him to the Nightmare on Elm
I
Street
got
2.
that right there.
You got it.
Yeah. I love that
All right.
because I thought that was so cute.
I think we need to see your notes beforehand, Melanie, so we don't step on.
No, I love that.
Step away. I'm kidding. But guys, we brought up Weed Magically.
He's like,
it's
having
just
therapy.
Look. Here's the thing. It's
What?
bananas. The movie's bananas, and I'm okay with it being bananas. I don't have to like it, but you're gonna make these choices. These are strong choices to make Porsches appear, to make Kelly Brock magical, to have cruise missiles appear, like out of nowhere. It's nuts. The whole thing. It's a comic book.
This isn't the first time.
I know,
you've
but
seen
it's bananas. All I'm saying is that it's so over the top for me that I just like at this point, because I can't get past the other stuff. When the cruise missile shows up, I'm like, what? Come on. Now again, guys, first viewing at 47. So I'm just saying that's ridiculous. And I had a better time. I had a better time with Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which is a terrible film. But I'm just saying. Go ahead.
How are you crazier for a cruise missile? They created a woman that's even worse. That's like
no. I'm just saying. Besides the whole magical woman bit, like suddenly I don't know, like what? I'm sorry, but continue.
It's fantasy, and it's what do you call it? Fantasy, and it's not. It's science fiction fantasy. Anything can happen.
It's whatever IMDb said. It was
like the 50s when they were traveling to the moon and they were having the alien. What's that show that we used to watch all the time? With a robot on the moon. What was that? Oh my God, everybody watched it.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
Oh, they were on the moon.
That was a long time ago.
Well, I understand, but it's not. They were lost. We were not.
No, they're just on the other side of the moon.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know where the hell we are.
Really called found in space.
I'm looking out there. There's no Earth.
So now the 80s, you're now they got to come up with something better that you can do science fiction wise. You got to you can create a woman.
If this is the best you can get for science fiction, we're in trouble. Because it's not good. Yes,
Chris,
sir.
Let me ask you a question based in reality. Something I noticed. What happened to the daughter? There's a daughter in this movie.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay, so me and my mom.
Not one mention of her at all.
No, I was.
Wait,
And the grandparents. What?
Well, they say it at the beginning. Mm-hmm. They said that mom and dad are like going to visit the fiance, and they said, Chloe, who the hell would marry Chloe? Yeah. And then it's like, I'm surprised they left you alone. No, it's okay. And he goes, I'm surprised they left you alone. Yeah, and he goes, oh no, they didn't leave me alone. Chet's going to watch this. So he's coming back from military school. Chet, what the hell?
Gotcha. then, I wasn't listening to dialogue. I was looking at Kelly LeBrock's legs.
Well, because too, I was like, where did they get this freaking Barbie doll? This is an all guys house except for the mother. Where did they get this Barbie doll? So I kept thinking the same thing. And then all of a sudden later on, we saw that that Wyatt with his new girlfriend was in a girl's bedroom. And we were like,
that's where it struck me.
And then I saw like a picture in the back of a girl, and I'm like, that's okay. So then we had to like rewind it and try to figure out what. And we saw the beginning where they was explaining like Jay did.
All right, so here's
I went back to the picture on the wall to see the full family portrait, and I'm like, okay, there is a girl there, but I didn't hear the mention.
So I got two lines, right? That I didn't write them down, but I kind of have some quotes up, and so here's one I thought was funny. By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads? Ceremonial. That's funny. I'll give you that. The timing on that was funny. However, this made me actually audibly groan. We need more input. Got to fill this thing up with data. We have to make her as real as possible, Wyatt. I want her to live. I want her to breathe. I want her to aerobicize. That made me physically go, oh, God. Because the 80s sucked. And I don't want to hear about
but what's their fantasy?
What?
No, but not just aerobicide, but what's their fantasy? Women's gymnastics. You know what I mean? It's just, that's...
They went back to the beginning there where the girls were doing gymnastics in gym class.
And he mentions that.
There was a callback. Yeah. There was a callback when he was kissing Lisa. He said, I want you to do
the word aerobicize just has a visceral reaction with me. That's all.
Well, I think a lot of things have a visceral reaction with you.
When it came out, that was a normal word. That was a normal practice.
I'm so glad that's.
You know what that makes me think
of? So glad that's 40 years ago.
Right?
What?
You know what that makes me think of is one of the Friday the 13th. Is it like, which one is it, you guys? Is it part part 2
4.
or part 3. Is it? Well, I remember. Yeah, is it 4? So they were like when Jason gets wheeled into the hospital and he's like half dead or whatever on the thing, and the perverted guy there is watching all the girls aerobicizing.
Yes, they're all like four women just and it was a real show that was on TV.
Yeah.
and then Hilly was actually in part 4.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Judy Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the thing about shitting egg rolls? That was kind of funny.
Oh, that was good. They're going to shit egg rolls. Yeah.
Clever.
That's how upset. Can we talk about the fact that, and I don't know how we got this job, and maybe Melanie, you have some insight on this, but is it Elon?
Elon, yeah.
Whatever his name is. Elon Mitchell Smith.
Okay, yeah.
Was horrible in this movie. One of the worst acting jobs I've ever seen. And then on the flip side, one of the best acting jobs from Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, he was great in
I
it.
thought he
my
was
God, yeah.
fantastic in this.
He was.
But where did they get Elon? How did that happen? He only did the Wild Side or something.
Wildlife?
An older movie with Wildlife. That's it. Great movie. But he played a very small role in that. He didn't talk much, so he did well. But he's stiff. I mean, talking about the character, he's so stiff in this. There's one part where the skull comes out when they're searching through the computer. Skull comes out. Anthony Michael Hall goes like this, makes big reaction, and then they told Elon he had to do it, and he just went.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really.
What was it?
Right.
Yeah, horrible. But there has to be a story behind that he was somebody's nephew.
All I have on that is I think they liked how innocent and young that he looked.
But
he once told everybody, they asked him how much he made for that. He said $150,000, and they asked how much Michael Anthony Hall made, and he said $300,000.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he was already semi-established by then. 16 Candles. And he already got the gig with Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a couple funny about the Breakfast Club. I got a couple.
Oh, and
things.
Vacation as well, which was a John Hughes written movie.
Yes, I got a couple things about Michael Anthony Hall. The reason why he couldn't be on National Lampoon's Vacation was because he was making this film, and because he couldn't be on that, so what they did was they just became a tradition of where they were replacing the kids every one that they did, and then 3 months after Weird Science, him and Robert Downey Jr. were cast on SNL as cast members.
Yeah.
And it only lasted for one season because they replaced the cast. But he was the youngest member to this day to ever be on SNL as a regular cast member. And then,
and one of the first, or one of the only celebrities. Like he was already a celebrity by then. Usually they start at the bottom, work their way up, make movies.
Yeah, you're totally
he
right.
went backwards.
Yeah, you're so right.
That was bad. I remember that.
And then John Kapelos, that was in The Breakfast Club as a janitor, was one of the bar patrons. I had to look that up because I kept saying, and I was thinking of you, Jay. I was like, he looks so familiar. Where the hell have I seen him before? And it took me a while to find him. I'm like, oh my God, that's why. Because we just saw him.
He was also in. He was also in 16 Candles.
Oh, which part?
Yes.
He was Rudy, the bow hunk.
The fiance,
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He was the fiance?
Yeah.
That's right. Oh my God. I totally forgot that.
And then, he was the one that says, how come you're into Malacca like this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's into Malaccas or whatever.
That makes sense.
This is kind of cute.
And that laugh.
You know how Michael Anthony Hall always makes a reference to, in Breakfast Club and this, he made a reference to, he has a girlfriend in Canada, his fake girlfriend. He did the same on both things. But you know how we talked about before in Breakfast Club, when he's drunk, he does this weird kind of impression when he's drunk or when he was high on the Breakfast Club. Yeah, Michael Anthony Hall.
Yes. Anthony
Michael Hall.
But I'll give her credit because his actual first name is Michael.
Yeah.
It's just there was like a switch, because I don't know if it was somebody else.
We have Michael Anthony from Van Halen, so every time I talk about one of them, I have to figure out.
And there's
Van Halen.
And there's Rich Hall, the guy that Sniglets.
I keep switching it around because sometimes it says Anthony Michael Hall and sometimes it says Michael Anthony Hall.
Yeah, it is his first name for real, but there was some sort of stage name issue or something, so he switched to Anthony Michael Hall, but.
But do you know where that comes from? The way he's acting when he was drunk on this and the way he was acting when he was high.
I love it, though. I love that sound. It's funny.
It's Richard Pryor's character called Mudball.
Yeah, I was going to say, it felt a little racist watching it now.
Okay, so I don't love it.
A little bit.
It's actually from Richard Pryor.
I no longer love
it.
it.
African American. You know,
It's also called.
Listen,
it's called an edit button.
it's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
It is. But
Yeah.
it could be considered just a tad racist.
Yes.
Did it?
But
Yeah, today.
I know, but I gotta
But
tell you, the
apparently
tones,
John Hughes
the fucking
loved that.
tones
Oh, it
he
was great.
uses
That
is
was
fucking great on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melanie.
I was gonna say John Hughes apparently just loved that character, Richard Pryor. He thought it was so funny, and so when they were trying to figure out how he should act on this, he was like, "Why don't you just act like this?" And had him kind of watch that because he thought it was funny. So it was kind of just done because he liked the character and thought it was,
He also changes it though. He changes it to that high pitched thing too, like when he was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That didn't quite sound the same as that one where he's chilling out, relaxing with the guys in the bar.
I met
You
Anthony
did.
Michael Hall.
No
Did you?
way.
I did at
Get out.
a house party.
What?
And he was,
All right,
he was kind
fair
of
enough.
a dick.
Yeah.
Kind of what?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, once
So-
again, the edit button.
He ain't gonna be on the
What
show.
did he say? It went out.
No,
What
but
did
I
he say?
just, that's right. I don't want to
Oh,
You want
my
me to
God.
It's fine because it's a fact, and
You
I
verify
can,
it. It's a fact.
I was there. So
Wow.
it was a very small house party. Really quick, this is a funny story. Real small house party, and it was like 97, 98, and I was on Cape Cod, and I guess he's from the Cape.
Wow.
And he was at a club earlier with everybody that was at the party. Came back. I was on the radio, so I came after my shift, and I hear that Anthony Michael Hall was hitting on my girlfriend all night at the time.
No way.
So so she's at the party, and I hear this story, like, oh, he was all over, he was asking about her, all this stuff. And we had like this weird full-blown makeout section in the middle of the party so that he could see. It was me like peeing on her to make sure he knew she was
Oh
mine.
my God.
Wow.
That's insane.
Okay.
Yeah. And
What a
so
story.
and before that even happened, I did approach him and I said, oh, I love Johnny Be Good, because I do love that movie. And that's the first movie he like kind of changed as an actor.
Yeah.
He was more of the cool guy. And he kind of blew that
Yep.
off, and
Oh.
that threw me off too. And then I hear the other story,
Yeah,
and I'm
he's
like,
done.
forget this
Yeah.
guy, forget him, done.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that's my Anthony Michael Hall story.
You're gonna
love
suck
that.
in Halloween ends, kills, and you're a jerk at this party. That's it.
Isn't he a little much as Tommy?
He
Just
is.
a little much.
Yeah, he
Just
is.
a little much.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he
yeah.
was a jerk in Edward Scissorhands. Remember that character?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Don't even get me started on Dead Zone. All right.
We're not talking candle wax on the nipples or witchcraft or anything.
The parents were funny.
I have.
Yeah.
I love
Sure.
that.
I don't know
That was
who
cool.
you're talking about, but I want you to shut up.
I have that down. I heard exactly what you said because I thought it was so cute. Talking about
Because-
parents, Gary's mom. You told me you were combing your hair. The water's running all day.
Yeah.
She said, "Mom, I was doing my hair." That's so funny.
All right, so for the longest time, and this happened in 80s movies all the time, I never understood what that meant. I never understood that. I'm like, they're doing that weirdly.
Yeah.
Because that's not how I imagine it.
How do you imagine it, Ray?
What motion is
Yeah.
that? I don't get it.
Oh my God.
Melly, you wouldn't understand. I'm sorry.
But
No, I don't
no, but you know
understand.
what? No, you know what's funny though? I like the awkwardness of Gary in the scene. He's like, Dad's a plumber. Well, and well, I guess you plumb,
plums.
right, Dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
My
You
favorite
Dad's
lines.
got the
He
comb
plums.
over. Oliver has the comb over.
Yeah.
Classic 80s comb over on his hair.
So all right. Well, we
I
could.
have-
Was he, by the way,
Sure, go ahead.
think closely about this. Was he the guy that got struck by lightning
Yes.
99 times? Okay.
Yeah, which is a John Hughes movie.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
That's
a
what I love
couple
about John Hughes. He brings everybody
He's in the
back.
Shermerverse, man. He's in the Shermerverse.
That's next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Maybe in the
I have
summer.
a couple more things since we're going to wrap it up. Lisa's name came from an Apple computer, the Lisa, released in 1983 that sold for $9,995.
Holy shit.
Is that all?
That's a lot back then.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
How much
Yeah.
is that now?
That's a lot now.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a computer now.
You're right. How much is that now, though? If you like, I mean, what do you guys?
15.
That's insane. And then in the bathroom scene, there's a Playboy in the background, and you can see Kelly LeBrock's editorial in there. Her pictures are on the on the top.
All right.
Kelly Emberg was originally cast as Lisa, and she did 2 days of filming before Kelly LeBrock replaced her. And Demi Moore and Robin Wright auditioned. I can't see them doing it.
No.
And then this is kind of cute. John Hughes wrote this script in just 2 days.
Shocker.
He I guess after like filming one of the days of The Breakfast Club, like all day long, he came into Michael Anthony Hall and he said, yeah, I got the next movie. He goes, I just wrote 30 pages of it last night. It's like,
well, there was a lot of cocaine in the 80s, so, you know.
Yeah, stayed up all night long. And John Hughes said that the goodbye scene between Wyatt and Gary and Lisa made him tear up in real life.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah, probably. Yep. It's terrible.
Wait, I have one. Before I have another, I do have another thing that ties in. Well, first off, $9,000 today would be from 1983, $26,775.09.
Awesome.
That's insane. Who bought
That's
that
a lot.
computer?
Adjusted for inflation.
No, but the other thing is this, dude. You want to talk cringy, man? This is cringy. I'm laughing thinking about it. When she says, "Would you kiss me?" and he goes, "Okay." Where do you want it?
Yeah.
Where do you want it? Like a 15-year-old shouldn't be asking that question.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It made me uncomfortable when I saw Wyatt kiss Lisa because
Yes.
I mean he really
Gross.
looked. Yeah. Even I remember being young thinking that's odd and
Gross.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like
Melanie,
Probably his first kiss.
Melanie,
So
I don't
gross.
mean to. I don't want to speak for Ray, but I'm going to guess that he's in my camp. In 1986, we were not feeling uncomfortable about that scene.
Yeah, probably not being a guy.
We're like, heck,
yeah. We were very excited
man.
Yeah, me, I was
And
like,
that
okay,
gave us
that's
hope.
weird and gross because as a
What's that,
girl,
Ray?
you know, you don't go for
That gave us hope.
Right?
There's
But
no
as a
hope
girl,
of
you know,
that.
the girls always like
Well,
the older guys.
That's
you know what I mean?
insane. That's not a thing that will ever happen. There's no hope.
I had a computer.
All right, fair enough. All right. Did you have a Lisa, though?
I had a computer, but no ambition. That was it. That was the problem.
To create.
My computer could have done that, I bet.
Maybe.
Okay, so I just have a couple more quotes. So I love how Robert Downey Jr. and the other Robert, what's his last name? Max,
something.
yeah, but his real last name. But anyway, he goes, yeah, our feelings for Deb and Hilly, they run as deep as yours and for Lisa. It's about respect and the time that we spent together, and a couple of guys like you deserve them.
Right. And he goes, we'll let you have Deb
Yeah.
and Hilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let you have them. Like
it's
gotta
your
go.
choice. Yeah.
like the
Traded.
tokens of trade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
training.
Just let me have a crack at Lisa, and you can have them. It's fine. They're okay with it. And then the grandmother. Nothing's more important to a teenage boy than his grandparents.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Or, you know, of course, in your race for power and glory, you forgot one small detail. You forgot to hook up the doll. And then I just have.
He said it first. I like how Wyatt said it though. You forgot one thing. He goes, "We forgot to hook up the doll."
Yeah, you're right. The way you did it. And then as we were talking in Gremlins about how the dad could not fit down the chimney whatsoever, how is there a piano and a couch and everything just coming up through the chimney?
Yeah.
Big chimney.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're willing
You're
to
rich.
accept a magical robot lady, then you have to accept a piano
Look
and a
at
chimney.
Look at the bopping of the head. Like they sell you at comic book stores.
Did you guys notice when all those bikers were leaving
Shut up.
in the background? What was in the background? I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna
There's a
learn.
million things in the background.
I didn't learn anything about apples today.
Sorry, private joke on The
What was in the
Simpsons.
background?
Go ahead.
Oh God, I love The Simpsons. Yeah, what the hell is in the background? They get into this truck that has like a motorcycle kind of front, and and if you look really good, I rewound it like 100 times. It looks like there's wrapped up mummies. Like it looks like mummies wrapped up in the truck as these biker people are leaving.
Well, you know what? They were very. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say the characters are just based on Mad Max, and that guy was in Mad Max, Road Warrior,
Yeah.
Mad Max 2, right? Is that the order?
Yeah.
He was in that, so I think they were trying to replicate that kind
The
of
one that
bad
was
guy.
in Motley Crue's smoking in the boys' room.
No.
With the principal.
No,
the-
he was in The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes.
Hills Have Eyes.
I love how they mentioned
John Barrowman.
on IMDb
John Barrowman.
that he's, yeah.
Oh, I noticed
What?
another one is Michael Berryman.
Michael
Michael
Berryman.
Berryman, sorry.
From The Hills Have Eyes. He's the mutant biker from the Smoking in the Boys' Room. And Vernon
Sensible.
Wells was the Mohawk guy from The Road Warrior.
So,
Okay.
you know, guys, the
And
Road
then-
Warrior is from the 80s. We could have watched that. We could have watched Mad Max. Why couldn't we have watched Mad Max? I've never seen Mad Max 1 or 2. We could have watched
I
that.
think I saw pieces of
Road
it.
Warriors.
I
I gotta say, I don't know. I saw Road Warrior first, so I like it a lot better than Part 1.
I'd be excited because I watched Fury Road. And I didn't understand anything that was going on, and I actually stopped it.
You don't even need to see the
I know I
original
don't, but
ones.
I want to get on that George Miller bent, man. I want to watch some Road Warrior. Anyway, sorry.
They're
We
good.
could have
So
watched
worth
that
it.
and not this. Sorry.
Jay's right, though. The second one's better. The first one was an Australian film.
Right.
No, it wasn't, was it? It was an American film, but they didn't want to use Mel Gibson's Australian
Right.
accent, so they overdubbed
Yes.
his voice. Which, what a slap on the face
Well,
that
that-
is. Just like the Andy McDowell in the Tarzan story. Oh,
Okay. Sorry.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we're
another
on.
real quick thing is, did you guys recognize when Lisa was sitting on the couch and she goes, "Excuse me, Arthur," and she goes, and he goes, "It's Art." She goes, "Excuse me, Art," when she was getting up. That is Wallace Langham, super young, the guy from CSI, the one that worked in the lab. I had to rewind that a couple times because he.
Yeah, no, you see his picture. He's everywhere, like in a lot of stuff
Yeah,
today. So it's one of those things. Like he's not known as far as his name, but like everybody knows his face. I think.
Well, he looked so young in that; it was insane. And then, of course, the Shermertown High School. The exterior was using 16 candles and risky business. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. That's very cool.
It's time now for final judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
Well, now it's time for final judgment. Up until this point, this has all been opinion, but now opinion becomes fact, and we set in stone the answer to the question: does this movie stand the test of time? Well, does it? Let's start with the guest of honor, and Ray. Normally, you're the guest of honor, but today, all of us
Oh, Jesus.
are in the same boat, and the guest of honor is the guy who hasn't seen the movie. So I'm gonna say, Chris, let's just get yours out of the way.
All right, that's cool. So I'm not gonna get too amped up. It's probably because I'm still a little sick. So I don't have the energy that I typically do. But I will say that this movie, for 1,000 reasons, does not hold up. It doesn't hold up thematically. I don't think you can have a movie about a woman that's property these days, who admits that she's property and is glad that she's property. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what the themes are. That's not going to fly. The kids are way too young. We're talking about the term high school orgy comes up like it's commonplace. That's not going to fly. Also, it's no way that's going to fly. The other bits that absolutely are, it's everything that's wrong with the 80s. And again, I grew up in the 80s. I like the 80s. I get it, but it was flawed, just like every decade is flawed. And the 80s is flawed in its own special 80s way. And the fact of the matter is that this movie, it's not a time capsule. It shows everything that started steering us wrong in the 80s. If you want to be recognized, you need not one expensive car, 2 expensive cars. If you want to be recognized, you have to be with a hot woman. If you want to be recognized, that you need to change, at least in the way that everybody else is the same. I know that they were just trying to get their confidence, but still, to me, the theme is you have to be more like the 80s, and you have to be consumeristic, and you have to want to party, and and I just don't like that. And the fact of the matter is that even though they're set off on their own, she still comes back at the end, like to be like their overseer still as the gym teacher. So we still have an Ali Sheedy moment. Ali Sheedy, don't change, but change a little. Well, you're on your own, but not really. We still have this hot lady that wants to look over you. And and I'm sorry, like, it's bananas. So it's funny in that regard. And the acting's fine. Those that are acting well are acting real well. It's not that. It's the whole idea of it, to me, is absolutely antiquated. It's everything that was not great about the 80s that we should probably forget. And the fashion's terrible. Just everything about it just rubs me the wrong way. And I try, again, the writing's not good, but again, it's nascent John Hughes, so there are no other John Hughes movies if this one doesn't come up. So for that, I'm thankful. And Anthony Michael Hall is great. And like I said, but it's just so much of it that just does not fly now at all. And so there it is. Doesn't hold up. I didn't like it, and it doesn't hold up. Some movies I don't like, and they hold up. You know what I mean? And some movies I don't like, and they didn't. This one I did not like it, and it just doesn't hold up in any way, shape, manner, or form.
Question.
Yeah.
Question. Yeah. 16 Candles and Breakfast Club preceded this.
Well, whatever the case may be. I mean, so, I'm just maybe I got my. I'm a little.
I thought Breakfast Club was after.
I don't.
No, it was like 85.
All right. Well, apologies on that if I got my timeline wrong. I said a little tired.
All right.
But so I'm thankful.
There is no excuse with COVID.
I know, right? But it just doesn't. It does not. There's no way it does. It doesn't hold up.
I hear you, bro.
All right. Next. Go ahead.
We're kidding with we're kidding with you. We kid because we
I don't
love.
give a shit. It's fine if you.
The best kind of folk in the world are prison folk.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead. Let's do it, Ray.
Well, that was so well put that I'll feel like an asshole.
No.
If I'm for this.
No, not at all.
I know, man. Like I shouldn't have started with Chris, man, because I feel like shit.
I want to say, and there's a fact here that maybe it came out different times. Oh, you're right. But I think Weird Science was filmed before Breakfast Club. Just for all you film freaks out there, because Melanie, I think you said that he turned down European Vacation for Breakfast Club.
No, yes, you're right. Yes.
So I think they were filmed around the same time, but like right after each other. But anyway.
he
And
came
16
up with
Candles was
Weird
very
Science when he was making the Breakfast Club. So it was after the Breakfast Club.
Oh, it was okay. Anyway, I'm for the movie. I don't like the acting. I think that every time I watch it, I'm just so turned off by Wyatt, the guy that played Wyatt. I don't know why that happened. I don't think it would have been a better movie with a different actor. It is what it is, but that's something that's always noticeable for me. I think it's one of Anthony Michael Hall's best performances. I think he shines in this. I like the sweet story when you peel the onion apart. They didn't take advantage of Lisa at any time. She had full control over these guys. So it's a very strong female character for the 80s. I do appreciate that. They could have done so much more. They got her in the shower. That was the worst thing. And even that they couldn't handle. And I think she guided them along, like, you just a little bit more confident. You guys be you, but a little bit more confidence, and you'll get the girls that you want. You'll get the respect that you want. The two bullies ended up respecting them somewhat at the end. They got the girls. They stood up to the bikers. I like that. And I think Lisa, like he said at the end, didn't he say it was very sisterly? Like he loved her in a sisterly kind of way. So that was cool. And I think if we just have to remember that she was made out of a computer. She was actually born on that day. So even if she was property, she's not real. She's not, I don't think she's real at all. So that didn't bother me so much. The gay slurs, there was a couple of those, but you can't help that because it was the 80s, and that was a word we all used, right? But so it doesn't play well now. And not that it doesn't play well, but it is just a cringe moment. And everyone has to remember that was the 80s. That's how we talked, and no excuse for it, I suppose, but the way it is. Even the scene I find a little racist now is still very funny. And I'm sure it was done in a respectful way, and everybody obviously was a part of it, and everyone thought it was great. So I think that kind of holds up, but I could see where somebody who enjoys picking things apart in 2022 would hate this movie. Not you, no, but I mean in like a PC kind of way. And I don't think that's where you were, Chris, at all.
It's not PC. It just stands for too many things that I disagree with. But again, but Ray, your points are very good points. So it's all about, like we say set in stone, but it's still opinion. And that's how how the movie comes across to me for whatever reason. And that's shame on John Hughes, but it didn't come across to you that way. And that's legit.
No, and I will I will agree with you. It's bananas.
It's nuts. It's bananas. Yeah, it's bananas.
It's bananas.
Nuts.
Absolutely. And it's not your traditional John Hughes movie where they're mostly based in reality. I mean, these are Ferris Bueller's a kid you went to high school with. But this situation would not happen at a high school party. Oh, and another situation that doesn't happen at high school parties, nobody dances like that. I've never been to a high school party where everyone's dancing.
Yeah.
Nah, that's bullshit. No, just
that was
sitting
weird.
around, the guys are drinking, and there's usually one girl crying. And it's always the same girl. Just crying the whole time.
Yeah. Sharon's crying again.
what?
I can say anything.
July.
Just crying.
July. July.
Where's Sally?
When he cries.
She's crying.
The fashion goes. It was the 80s. It was Chess King. I mean, I worked there. That's what I wanted to wear. And nobody, where I came from, out in the sticks, nobody wore that kind of stuff. But we all wanted to because we saw it on TV in the movies. So that was just the style. For the rich kids in Shermer.
The Shermer.
I love the Shermerverse.
Who's up?
Melanie, go ahead.
Okay, so for me, it's always going to have a special spot for me because I grew up with it and I liked it when I was younger. So of course I watch it. I still think it's cute and I laugh about it. I love Michael Anthony Hall and I love Bill Paxton in it. I'm going to have to keep switching his name around because I really don't know which it's supposed to be. But
it's Anthony Bill Hall Paxton.
Yes, Bill Paxton, and I don't even write his name anymore. I just write initials because I'm not. I used to sit here when I was doing like movies that he was in, have to sit here and write his whole name out. I'm like, no, it's just initials now. So anyway, he was amazing in it. He was super funny, and so was Bill Paxton. And the funniest lines come from them. So I'm always gonna like it. However, I think if you'd have to kind of be like to show it to kids, you'd have to be a parent like us that likes it and show it to your kid. For your kid to be like, oh yeah, I like it, it's cute. But I think that if this came in the movies now, I do not see any kids rushing to go see it. If a commercial or preview came out for it, I don't see people in general really rushing out to go see it in the movies. I just don't think. I think it's kind of a movie where like we did Trick or Treat, and I love Trick or Treat, but I think it was kind of one of those movies where you kind of just had to be there. You had to grow up with it. You had to kind of relate to it. You had to like it when you were growing up, which I did. I love it. I can't imagine somebody not liking it, honestly. And but I just feel like if this came out now, nobody would go see it. Right. So I don't think it would hold up. I think you kind of had to just be there.
So Melanie, it's a good movie that no one would go see.
I think it's a cute movie because I grew up with it and I like it a lot, and I like a lot of the quotes and funny things from it, and I like the actors a ton in it. But if this preview came out now, I just don't picture kids being like, oh, that looks awesome, I want to go see that. Or parents, I don't know, I just don't know if they would go run out and see it. Like, I know that people I've showed it to like it because they're growing up with me, you know what I mean? And they know I like all the 80s stuff, and so now my kids like all the 80s movies and the 80s music, but I don't know if it was in nowadays, if kids would, if they didn't have parents like me or us that like it, I don't know if they would watch it.
I think if you made it today, you'd actually have to make it super retro and almost in that like 2022 ironic retro cool. Like, this is cool because it's retro because it's so retro, but it's really ironic because it's not cool, but it's cool because it's not cool. Isn't that ironic? Like, that's like how that would have to be sold. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. Not like Stranger Things where they're trying to sell the 80s that it's like the 80s, but they'd have to
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Something like like it's actually crappy, but it's cool because it's crappy. Whatever. So sorry.
Yeah. In my mind, I will always like it. I own it on DVD. My kids have it on DVD. I like it personally, but I just don't know if it came out now, if a lot of people would go run to see it. So in that mind, I don't think it would hold up. And then if you guys are wondering, you perverted guys, what she was actually wearing in the shower, when she took a shower with them because she looks naked, she had a bikini bottom on and tape up here. If you guys ever really wanted to know that. And then as far as
fantasy, but thank you.
I thought she was wearing a penis, so movie, I mean, what? All right.
Well, she wasn't naked. At the end of the movie, she shows up and she's in the gym because she wants to help other guys
fantasy.
just like them. So yeah,
had to change the fantasy. Sorry.
Take the tape off. At the end of the movie, I think she's there because she's trying to help other kids that are like them come out of their shells and have more confidence, so they're not going to get picked on in school, etc., etc. But I liked it. I just don't think it would hold up today.
All
Jason,
right. I'll take a swing.
Go ahead.
I'll take a swing at this. Here's my deal. I don't think it holds up either. Now, because this is never about whether we liked it or not. You were worried there for a second. Huh? No. Here's the thing. I liked it at 14, and I tend to try to keep it there. Meaning, like I like to rewatch it and try to recreate the feeling, even though I know deep down I'm not. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things I like. I do like it. It doesn't hit me as hard as it did in 1986. You know what I mean? Like it does, because you see all the jokes coming, like the things are here, and I'm not feeling it exact. And the things that are wrong with it are really wrong. You know what I mean? Like all the the sexism or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, you could, let's put it this way. I'm a huge Hughes fan, but I will look at this one and, like, I know somebody who's 35 years old that works with me, and I let her, she'd never seen The Breakfast Club, and I was like, oh, you got to see The Breakfast Club. And I lent it to her because I was like, you got to see this. It's so good. Because she had, was like looking through stuff. She's a teacher. She was looking through some commercials that are like from France, because she's a French teacher. And it happened to have the song Don't You Forget About Me, and that's how the subject came up, and I lent her that. I would never have thought to lend her this. Yeah. Like, or like, you know what I mean? Like this would be like I wouldn't even think about that. I'd be like, nah, yeah, he did all these others. And I wouldn't, and I think that's a sign of like how I wouldn't be, like, it's prude, and you know what I mean? Like, whatever, it's not something. I don't mean the word prude. I heard it a few times today. I'm not a prude. Mm-hmm. No, but what I'm saying is, I think it's it's a little rough, like, and not very PC, and not like all these things. So it's like I wouldn't be quick to say, hey, I'm going to lend this to you and see what you think of it. It's easier with Breakfast Club and other things that Ferris Bueller. Mm-hmm. So I look at this one as the lower of them. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's terrible, because I do enjoy it, but it's also based on my past. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I totally get it, Chris, that I like, I'm busting your chops, but like I get that you're 47 watching this for the first time, and that's a strange time to be watching something that acts like this. So it's like, I see how he would not enjoy it. I saw it coming a mile away. So no, it doesn't hold up, but it doesn't taint my memory of it. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Cool. Excellent. Yep. And there we have spoken.
All right. So, that wraps up that. Let me see. That was our show, and I would like to thank Ray for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you. Had a great time, as always.
Remind everybody.
By the way, I've been listening to your podcast all the time.
I was about to say that. Yeah, go ahead.
So good.
Well, New England Legends podcast. Yeah. And I just started a new one. It's called Don't Quit Your Day Job, and I talk to local cover band musicians that I know in the area, and we talk about who they are behind the mic, because we all have 9 to 5s, or somewhat, and then we talk about the ins and the outs of being in a local cover band, dealing with management, dealing with rowdy crowds. And I dealt with somebody who wanted to come up and sing the other night, and it's not karaoke night, but her boyfriend got mad and thought that I thought I was too full of myself. I couldn't let his drunk girlfriend come up and sing, so he wanted to fight me. And these are the things that we have to deal with for like $60 a night, and then we have to pay our bar tab. So we walk out with $20, and I have to deal with that shit. So these are the things that we address.
I like that. That's cool.
That's awesome.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun, and it's brand new. There's only 2 episodes out right now.
Nice.
Super.
That's awesome, man. Also, I'd like to thank Steve Lavoie for doing those intros and the sounds that he does, and Draco and the Malfoys for our wonderful theme music. We ask folks that you would please rate and review and subscribe to our YouTube channel and all that stuff. So it really helps us, and we want to get our show out there. So I am Jay Fortier, and on behalf of Chris and Melanie and Ray, we'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Film Crickets. Until next time, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.
Film Cricket, chirping about movies.